Okay, so let's move on from this scene one, and we're going to continue on with what we call roughing out. So this is like a rough cut of our animation. So this is where things such as cars, for what have you, or what have you, are just drawn simply. You can go back and add more detail later on. So just remember this here is just roughing it out. So we're going to go over to scene now 2, where we are now at the maybe full shot to a mid shot. So let's bring the car in. We're going to reuse this car from our library. So we bring the car in. Now before we do this, we need to turn the lock on for our scan because we don't want to modify this scan. And we create a new layer, and we're going to call this one here car. And so this shot here is going to be very much basically the car, but we'll replace it later on with a movie clip. And the movie clip is a timeline with the timeline. I'm just going to increase what's going on here. I need to increase the size of this. There we go. And I'm pressing shift at the same time so that the car comes in. Let's move this down here so we can move this in at an aspect ratio of some sort. So we have here the car, and it is going to be animated. So we go over to classic tween over here, and we are simply going to go to the other side on frame 25, and I'm going to make a new keyframe, and I'm simply just going to zoom in to the occupants of the car. So about here somewhere will suffice. Okay, there we go. And we also need a background for this as well. So we need to use that green. So we're going to create a new layer and bring that layer down underneath the car. Call this one here grass. And we simply cover this whole frame with one of those greens that we had earlier on. Not allowing me to modify this. What's going on here? I should start drawing out here so I can see what I'm doing. So there we have it. Let's try this out now. So I'm simply just moving into this section here, remembering that I'm going to be animating this much better later on. I'm going to shift this car so it's moving a little bit over to the frame there. So I'm going to see this person, the driver, that window is going to be evident in the scene there with the occupant on the other side. Okay, so that's that one there. So let's try this out. I'm going to press Command S or Control S on the PC, and we're going to now go over to test, and we can go and test our movie. So we are continuing on with that, which is really cool. It's starting to really take shape. Remembering that we are going to come back here and animate this a little bit better. We're just roughing in now. So we go over to scene 1. And we do the same thing. We create a dark background for so the inside of the vehicle, and we create the faces of our occupants, and we start animating those individual things there. So we can do this now. So we do the same thing as before. We go over to the scan, we lock the scan layer, and we start roughing out this dashboard for the car. So we'll call this one here dash. And I like to lay this out. So we go over to our pen tool, and we change over to, let's say, a dark grey colour, and we're going to draw further out to the extent of our board here. Don't worry about these bottom bits here because we don't see that. And we go to the bucket tool, and we fill it in. So that is our dash over there. And we now are going to make a new layer for our steering wheel. And we're going to animate the steering wheel. So what we need to do is, obviously it's on a different layer, and it's underneath the dash because it's going to be behind the dash over there. And we can simply create an oval with the oval tool, make sure that there's no stroke on it, and we change over to maybe a light grey colour, and we draw in our circle like that, and we can shift it across a little bit. And obviously the person's hand is going to be above it as well. So we're going to, let's say, draw in another circle, but this time we're going to change the color to, let's say, red, so we can minus out the thickness of the steering wheel. There we go. So that's minused out now. And let's just be in a good effort here. We're going to right click on this steering wheel here, and we convert this to a symbol. And this one's going to be called here scene 3 steering wheel. All right, so here we can see we're starting to really lay this up now. We can start putting in the body of the people as well, really start fleshing it out. You know here that we can make this steering wheel shift around and all kinds of things, make the people's faces animate slightly. And that'll be all for this one here now. Thank you. Bye.